increasingly aggressive information attacks. First of all, targeting the young generations, lying on every step, distorting historical truth, attacking our culture, the Russian Orthodox Church, and other traditional religious institutions in our country. Now look at what they're doing with their own peoples. They're destroying the institution of family, their cultural and historical identity, and various perversions with regard to children up to pedophilia are accepted as the new norm, and priests are forced to recognize and officiate same-sex weddings. People can live however they want, and we in Russia have never intruded into people's private life.
Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Vladimir Putin raging against America and the West, accusing them of being responsible for the invasion. This was a lengthy and angry speech. He claimed that Russia was defending the motherland again, Russian-speaking people from Kyiv, America and others who were working with, quote, terrorists, Nazis, even the devil, to use against Russia. He showed no signs of backing down, even though the war on the ground has been a disaster and his latest offensive in the east is making only slow progress. Instead, he said that Russia is now going to temporarily suspend its participation in the New START treaty. That's the last major nuclear arms treaty with the US. In a thinly veiled threat, he also accused the US of considering restarting nuclear weapons tests, threatening that Russia would hold them too. We're just getting news that the American ambassador to Moscow has been summoned for talks at the Russian Foreign Ministry in connection with America's support for Ukraine. No backing down, no easing in tensions, and no sign this war is going to end anytime soon.
Did the grand jury recommend indictments of multiple people?
Yes. I will tell you, it's not a short list. I mean, we saw 75 people, and there are 6 pages of the report cut out.
So we're talking about more than a dozen people?
I would say that, yes.
Are these recognizable names, names that people would know?
There are certainly names that you would recognize, yes. There definitely are some names that you expect.
What do you want people to know about this process and about your work?
That really, when it came down to it, we were just people looking into something. And that's worth it.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president?
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment. I can see how trying to get the former president to come talk to us would have been a year in negotiation by itself.
So it sounds like that was ultimately a battle that you all decided not to wage.
Exactly. That's kind of how it ended up. Was that, and I'd be fascinated by what he said, but do you think he would have come in and said anything groundbreaking, or just the same kind of thing we've heard? So at some point you don't need to hear 50 people say the same thing.
Did you recommend charges against Donald Trump?
I really don't want to share something that the judge made a conscious decision not to share. I will tell you that it was a process where we heard his name a lot. We definitely heard a lot about former President Trump, and we definitely discussed him a lot in the room. And I will say that when this list comes out, there are no major plot twists waiting for you. I don't want to speak out on something the judge, like I said, consciously chose not to release at this point. I don't know if I would interfere with the DA's investigations. I don't know if I would interfere with procedures in some way. I very much do not want to cross that line.
What do you say to people who question your findings or want to say that your investigation, what you all were doing in that room, was influenced by politics?
I think that's the opposite. I think that by choosing to have a grand jury, by choosing to impanel regular people, they very specifically chose to avoid politics, to take bias out of the question, because they chose to get, instead of anyone else, they chose to get 16 random people. They could have gotten, if they had wanted someone who was just going to support their opinions, they could have gone and hired a bunch of legal experts. There were all kinds of choices that could have been made there, but they chose to get a random sampling of the population of the area, and I think that speaks really strongly to them trying to avoid bias in any way and trying to avoid politics.
For any lawyer out there, or anybody who's ever dealt with lawyers, or anybody that's ever dealt with grand juries, or trial juries, or whatever, anybody who believes in the fairness of a justice system, this is appalling. Something very strange is going on. One of the jurors for this special grand jury set up by the Democrat DA in Atlanta has been making the rounds on television, MSNBC, CNN, Sunday shows. Really, I think in violation of the judge's order, where he's basically said that you're not to release, or the DA asked and the judge agreed, you're not to release information about what this special grand jury came up with, because she needs a regular grand jury, does the DA, to actually bring indictments. So they're making recommendations about indictments. And this juror, singularly among the jurors on the grand jury, is making the rounds on these TV shows. She's almost giddy. She's loving the attention that she's receiving, and she's completely undermining the ability of whomever might get indicted to defend themselves with an impartial jury. And I certainly hope that is something that people will bring up if, in fact, they are charged by this rogue Democrat-elected district attorney. And my great fear is that she's going to use this to indict the former president, Trump, perhaps Rudy Giuliani. Who knows? Who knows? This door should never have been opened by the Supreme Court, but here it is, wide open.
If you walked outside and looked up and the sky was full of planes dropping paratroopers on you right now, and they were coming to strip you of your sovereignty, to strip you of every personal belonging you have, to strip you of every freedom that you have, even your bodily autonomy, that they were coming to give you a number, round you up like cattle, and put you in sectors where you can't go more than 15 minutes from your home, where you have an expiry date on your digital money, and you have no future for but what they say. What would you do? What would you do? Now my question is, what would you do if those same people, instead of dropping out of planes like paratroopers on your head, spent the last 40 years slowly infiltrating your governments, right from municipal levels up to federal levels, using blackmail, bribes, and every other kind of fucking bad thievery that they do. Now they're here in your yard, and they want to take the same things, your sovereignty, every belonging, your personal bodily autonomy, your freedoms, and your right to move around. They want to come and remove your free will. They want to remove God from your life. They want to take over and make you an Anatole.
Without credit cards and cash. Let me show you how it works. You need to sign up on Amazon One kiosk. You insert your credit cards and the machine scans both of your palms. Then you enter your mobile number and agrees with terms of use. You're all set.
So attracted to our devices that they're basically becoming a part of our bodies. But what if they really could become a part of our bodies? Well, guess what? They can. Meet the RFID microchip.
This tiny chip? Hello everyone, Russ Fox here. I'm going to show you how my NFC and RFID implants work. This is a Samsung smart lock I've installed on the front door of my home. The way this works, I can lock the door by simply pressing my finger on the screen. Locked. Now to unlock, I wake up. I take my chip and introduce it to the reader, and it unlocks. I simply take my RFID chip in my hand and bring it to the reader. That wakes the bike up. Now I can turn it on. First you power the table from underneath. You scan my chip from over top. That opens the solenoid. Now the slip hinge. Now the drawer.
This is the new and improved 7-inch Nest Hub from Google. It's a smart display that gives you access to your favorite entertainment and smart home devices in one connected place, which makes it super helpful in any room you put it in. Kind of like a conductor that keeps your whole home in perfect harmony. First up, let's see how Nest Hub works in the living room. Just set it up, and when you need to pause the music, you can stop the tunes with your voice or even a simple gesture. Ready to pick it back up again? Just say, "Hey Google, play some music." And the Nest Hub's enhanced speakers will get it pumping. When it's time for a real cinematic experience, "Hey Google, dim the lights."
Dimming the lights.
What about when you get interrupted? It shows you who's at the door and even lets you talk to them. Next up, Nest Hub in the kitchen. Need a pasta recipe? Just say, "Hey Google, show me how to make a ragu on YouTube." It also keeps your family on track and on beat. "Hey Google, show me my calendar," and reminds you about important things on your to-do list. And when dinner's ready, Nest Hub helps let everyone know. "Hey Google, broadcast, it's dinner time." And the last stop on our tour, Nest Hub in your bedroom. Setting an alarm and playing soothing sleep sounds has never been easier. It even wakes you up with gentle birdsong and a soft change in light. Or you can just snooze with a wave of your hand.
We have a flat tire.
How do I tie a bow tie again?
What's the fastest way to Hartford Hospital?
Do I need an umbrella in New York this weekend?
Remind me to call Chris when I get home.
Move my meeting from 3 to 4?
What does a weasel look like? Remind me to get milk when I leave work.
Tell my wife I'm gonna make it.
Wake me up at 6.
Play some Coltrane.
I'm locked out.
I found 3 locksmiths fairly close to you.
At Ring, we invent stuff, like the Ring Video Doorbell, Ring Alarm, and so much more. But where do we go from here? Introducing Ring Always Home Cam. Yeah, it's a camera that flies.
What?
We thought, what if we made a camera that can see every angle in your home without having a camera in every room? And make it smart enough so that you can teach it where to go.
Like this?
Yep, just like that.
Cool.
So, with the push of a button, it wakes up and goes here, there, or wherever you choose.
You forgot the orange slices, didn't you?
No way. Frankly, I blame the oranges.
Hey!
And the Always Home Cam works seamlessly with Ring Alarm.
Yeah, that's not good.
Actually, it's great, because you can watch live from anywhere.
Well, good for you guys.
And when you're home, Always Home Cam is docked and the camera is hidden, designed with your privacy in mind. Introducing Always Home Cam, only from Ring.